After being on absolute fire for much of the past couple of years, the real estate market is finally starting to cool down. And there's been a lot of confusion out there. There's all kinds of talk of a bubble. There's all kinds of talk of a crash. And you've got people saying, yes, this is going to happen. No, this isn't going to happen. And the bottom line is, nobody knows exactly for sure. Everyone's got a different opinion about it. But what I do know is that the right advice is not the same for everyone. So in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 reasons why now is not the time for you to buy a home. Hi, this is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team here in Frisco, Texas. And, how's the market? Is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to sell? Are some of the most common questions that I get. Actually, most real estate agents get those questions. And I'm sure you're all sick of hearing the answer, oh, the market's great, the market's great, the market's great. Kind of a canned response. And the honest truth is sometimes the market isn't great. Sometimes the best decision to do is to do nothing. And that's going to vary with everybody's own situation. And again, I've gone out and I've said, I don't think we're going to see a crash like we saw previously. I don't think we're going to see a wave of foreclosures. And I know some agree with me, some don't agree with me, and that's fine. But what I do want to do today is go in and give you these 3 reasons why, for many people, now might not be the right time to buy a home. So number 1, home prices. Home prices have absolutely soared. So you look at different areas of the country where they've gone, and the pace of appreciation in the last couple of years has been absolutely insane. I admit it. There's a lot of areas where there's no way the homes were worth what they were selling for. And here in Frisco, Texas, it's no different. We saw home prices rise absolutely crazy, just like many places. And it reached the point at the beginning of this year where the frenzy was out of control. You saw the news stories. I mean, people bidding $50, $80, $90, $100, $120,000 over the list price is just insane. And so it's obvious to everybody that that couldn't last. And it didn't, right? It didn't. Home prices have actually come down from that peak. So here in Frisco, we peaked in April. And from April to August, home prices are down 17% from that peak. Now, they're still up 14% compared to August of 2021, but we're down 17% from the peak. So for you, if you're in the market to buy a home, unless you've got a lease ending or you've got a specific reason why you have to move in the next 30 days, you might be good sitting on this for a while. I think that pace of appreciation, that month-over-month decline, is going to keep coming down. I don't think it's going to go all the way down. We're already starting to see some balance come back into the market here. We're starting to see the amount of price reductions leveling off, but I still think it's got a little ways to go before we find a new normal, for use of a better word. All right, number 2, mortgage rates. Mortgage rates have soared. Mortgage rates have absolutely taken the wind out of buyers' sales. Let's face it, a year ago, rates were right around 2 3/4, right? They're now running right around 6%, over 3% higher. That's going to take a huge dent out of anyone's budget in what they're looking for. As a matter of fact, based on the change in mortgage rates, the average mortgage is 53% more expensive today than it was a year ago. So obviously that's going to take a huge impact. Now, again, I know we can turn around and say, well, historically, rates are still not bad. And I think that's great. Historically, gas was 25 cents a gallon. Wasn't a loaf of bread 10 cents? That was then. Nobody that's buying a house right now or has looked at buying a home or has been in the market at any time in the past 10 years really cares what rates were doing 30 years ago. Just saying. I mean, I paid more than this when I bought my house, and I can relate to the higher mortgage rate, but let's be honest, no one really cares. What they care about is what rates are today and how that affects you and your plans to buy a home. It is forecast and believed that rates will tick back down. Not immediately, because inflation is the enemy of long-term interest rates, long-term mortgage rates. And inflation isn't doing too well right now, as we all know. It's not getting under control. So later this week, I do expect the Fed's going to take another 75 basis point at least raise to the base federal funds rate. That doesn't directly impact the mortgage rate, but it will have a spill-on effect. And let's face it, everything's more expensive. Every single thing that people want to buy is more expensive. Food's up, energy costs are up, you name it, you go down the line, it's more expensive. So it makes it much more difficult. Which brings me to point number 3, affordability. Affordability right now is at the lowest level it has been at any time since 1990. That makes a huge difference for people, right? So affordability now has just dropped below, 100 points on the scale is what's considered where the average wage earner can afford the average priced home. It's actually just dipped slightly below that. So affordability is a hit. So with those 3 things in mind, for many people out there, unless there's an absolutely pressing reason why you have to buy right now, I don't see any harm in waiting a few months, waiting this out and let things settle down just a little bit to see where it's all going to shake out. Now, saying that, there's always a silver lining. There's always the other side of the coin. And while now might not be the right time for many people to buy a home, the market now does offer some opportunities that didn't exist a year ago. And those are some things that you might want to consider. So for instance, let's look at home prices. They have come down from the peak. And sellers right now are more negotiable than they were a year ago. Let's face it, the list price of a home a year ago was the starting point. That was the minimum amount a seller would look at. And from there, it depended on how high above that you were going to have to go in order to write a competitive offer. Now, the listing price that you see is the absolute maximum that you're going to have to pay for that home in the vast majority of cases. Chances are it's going to be somewhere below that as the market tries to find its balance and find a new normal. At the second point in time, going back to that, a lot of people that were looking to buy in the past year wanted to, were ready to, but couldn't. Bidding wars and the lack of available supply of homes forced them out of the market. There was simply nothing to buy. I had plenty of buyers like that. They tried. We wrote offer after offer after offer, and in many cases, we were not able to get them accepted. We didn't go high enough, or the terms weren't quite right. That's all gone. So it's a much easier market for buyers now than it was a year ago. And not only that, you don't have to waive all of your inspections. You don't have to come in with appraisal waivers and be ready to cover that gap and have all of this extra cash available. All of that is gone. And if new construction is potentially of interest to you, well, now you've got the best of both worlds. A lot of the builders on homes that are going to be ready this year have cut the price, right? Home building is actually, you're going to see numbers come out shortly that shows home building is actually starting to go up. The builders, at least here in North Texas, are doing well. They're busy, but at the same point in time, they want to stay ahead of that curve. So they're offering some absolutely spectacular incentives. They're buying down the interest rate, right? So there's one builder right now where you can get a 3.99% fixed rate for 30 years, right? There's another right now that's buying the rate down to 2.99% for the first year, and then it goes up to 3.99, then it's fixed at 4.99. So there's different programs like that to help lower the cost long term, in addition to the fact many of the builders have cut the price on some of the homes that are already in production. So the market right now does offer a few opportunities. So hopefully this helps. If you like this information and you want to be updated every time I put out new information like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and, the little bell icon so you're notified when I produce new videos. And in the description below, I've got a link to my calendar. If you've got a question about the market or you want to go through your specific real estate goals and your plans and have an objective look at whether or not now is a good time for you to possibly buy, go ahead and book an appointment. Never a cost, never an obligation, no pressure whatsoever. I'm just happy to talk it through with you in order to help you get all of the information so you can make the best decision for you. Again, if you need anything at all, 469-296-5230 is how you can reach me, or you can send an email to Andrew@theandrewsmithteam.com.